Blog Talk Radio.
Yo, we here.
Welcome to the war room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you want it in the 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topic, sorta like some rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
5 Philly guys, diversified and educated. What's up, good people? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the WRS Podcast Network. I'm Jimmy the Blueprint, a.k.a. Jim Duncan, a.k.a. Jim Shady, a.k.a. the Kindle God, and I'm at the round table with my brother B. Austin. Tonight we'll talk about when journalism and entertainment intersect and discuss the excitement of the month of October in the world of sports. So keep it locked right here. And to get in to this conversation we're going to have, there's some things that you can do to join us. And one is getting into our chat room. That's at blogtalkradio.com/the war room. Or you can hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. That's at War Room Sports, you know. You can also call us in about 40 minutes. We're going to open up the phone lines and talk to you live on the air about anything. And that's the Digital Extreme Technology Hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. But before we get started, we need to remind you that you have to make our podcast network a part of your daily routine. When you're at your office job and you're sitting there doing your work, you can be listening to our podcast network to keep you entertained. You know what I'm saying? While you're doing whatever it is you're doing, getting your car washed, getting a trolley, whatever it is, you can make our podcast network a part of your routine because we have a lot of amazing shows. When we're not on the air, you can visit warroomsports.com. You can click right on that podcast network tab, or you can listen right on your mobile app, which is on Android as well as iOS. Or if you're an Apple person and you like to use iTunes, go right to iTunes, look up the War Room Sports Podcast Network, and you'll get our show as well as a lot of other amazing shows and talent that we've scoured the country and found some of the best talent on the internet, right? So you'll get sports as well as non-sports shows. We have this show, The War Room, The Broad Street Line with Roy and Chris. We got the best hip-hop podcast, The Tissue and the Tape podcast with Phil and Savad. We got After Further Review with the Mayor. We got a whole lot more. We got the mad scientists in the building. So you have to check out this network. It's amazing. You can also check out the listing of all our sports shows because they air on fatsradio.com, like Pretty Hot and Tempting, phatzradio.com, because we have all of our sports shows on there as well, which includes this show, the flagship show, the amazing show, the greatest show on the internet. B. Austin, what's good, King?
Hey, man. Just got out of this meeting about Yamin with Yamin and talk about Yamin.
Shout out to all the execs. Shout out to all the execs over at that the network that we met with. You know what I'm saying? No publishing, but salute to y'all anyway.
Yeah,
you know
I'm real excited about the coming tides and the direction of sports media that we control. Which, I mean, we're War Room Sports, so we control the universe.
Absolutely. So shout out to the execs at that three-letter company that we met with today. We appreciate the time or what have you. But we gotta talk about a lot is going on in the world of sports. A lot is going on in the world in general right now, man. Like it's sometimes you feel like it's information overload, man. So sometimes you gotta just fall back. But we're here to talk about it, man. We're here to give our perspective on everything going on in the world of sports. And the first thing is talk about what happened while you were on the grind this week, and we have to let you know. Shout out to DirecTV for their support. But if you like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, which includes the NFL Sunday Ticket, go to our website. That's warroomsports.com. Click on that DirecTV logo and order a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. How can you be a sports fan and not have DirecTV? I don't know. You have to try the NFL Sunday Ticket. It's amazing to watch all the talent around the league whenever you want to. But anyway, shout out to DirecTV, warroomsports.com. Click on that DirecTV logo, and you can hear that. It's time to talk about what happened while everybody was on the grind. Yo, man, we talked a little bit about this in our group chat, man, which is hilarious. But, Matt Barnes drove 95 miles to, quote unquote, beat the ish, or not ish, but you get the point, out of Knicks head coach Derek Fisher, because Derek Fisher is in a relationship allegedly with his estranged wife. So my man drove 95 miles. The first thing I thought of when I saw the story, I saw all the jokes. I know some people got offended talking about he's trying to control his woman. This is chauvinistic, and I got all that. But the first thing I thought of before the jokes start flying and all that, I'm like, yo, I've been upset. I've wanted to put pause on people before. But yo, if I take the time to drive 95 miles, like I have, something will kick in and I'll either calm down or I'll realize like, yo, this isn't the best situation for me to be in. And I don't have the spotlight on me like one Matt Barnes does. And I know Matt Barnes, I've seen his semi-biography, I know that he's really been through some stuff and he really may be about that life. But dog, how do you not have something that calms you down on a 95-mile ride? Explain that one to me, brother.
Matt Barnes takes his Gooniism seriously. I mean, I think that at this stage in his career, his personal branding, it's almost like if you ever watch somebody that's been CB4 Gusto for so long that they really, really believe their own hype. And that's one of the most dangerous people in the world, a person that believes the hype, that buys into their own hype, believes their own stories. You are a multi-million-dollar successful professional athlete who plays in one of the most entertaining leagues in the world. On the court, you're known as a quote-unquote enforcer, which shows you where professional basketball and professional sports have fallen when, you got a light-skinned, El DeBarge-looking, New Jack Swing, Christopher Williams lookalike who is essentially your tough guy. He's your tough guy. Like, he's the guy you look to knock cats out. He wears a conch. He wears a conch, a pompadour.
But hold on, though.
All that notwithstanding, he believes that he's tough. And so he listened to his own hype. He got in the car. He committed. You can't knock his commitment. He's committed to it. In all jokes aside and being really serious, I'm a little not ashamed. That's the wrong word. I'm a little disappointed in two grown men of their age and in their position falling into a situation like this. Like, there's nothing wrong. Derek Fisher, if you want to pursue
but what did Derek
Yams,
Fisher really do, though? What did he do? Is it a situation? Are you disappointed in him for, violating the unwritten rule of the guy code? Because they were once teammates, so they had to have some sort of relationship.
Yeah, you can't smack a teammate's gun.
Yeah, and no shots at her, but we've known her to, isn't that the same John? No, she's not the same one. It's her sister. Her sister's the one that Shaq was just violating, verbally, right? Yeah. Let
me come put it in. Her sister has 4 kids to Gilbert Arenas, but has been sampled around the league quite a bit. But make no mistake, both Gavon sisters are very well traveled and have acted as physical trainers with a specialty in coital exercise with professional athletes. So they're very accomplished in their training. It's not something that just the other sister does. They get around. They get their branding out there. They're known.
So that's what we call them now. We call them coital exercise personal trainers now.
Coital exercise specialists. Coital exercise specialists.
Got you. They have a reputation. Let's say that. Because the first thing I thought about was the 95 miles. Like, yo, I don't care how much of a goon you are. At some point, you got to calm down. When you get there after the 95-mile ride, don't you have to kind of make yourself angry again or pump yourself up? Like, don't you have to kind of get angry all over again? Because you probably were listening to music the whole ride. I mean, but anyway, my whole thing was I also remember Derek Fisher when he played for the Lakers. He also played for the Jazz at one time. Like, I remember he had a daughter who was sick, and it was a sad story, but she got the help. I remember she was actually in a hospital in Philadelphia because we have one of the best children's hospitals here. So it was a big thing about him and all the time that he had spent with his wife at the time and all that. I didn't know that he had got divorced to her. Now, people get divorced every day, B, but from what I'm reading now, he got divorced with her to be with this. which is interesting. That's a whole. This is a whole this is like Empire on on Fox. This is like a soap opera right now. But we gotta talk about it because I mean, for one, it's funny as hell, and for two, my man drove 95 miles. So I mean, there's a lot of JoJoism to go around with this, man. I mean, you can give it to Derek Fisher for leaving his wife if that's what he did. Other than that, I don't think he did anything wrong. I mean, that was his teammate though. There's so many layers to this, man. That at this point, at this point, you might as well just give it.
Everybody.
Dog, that's going to bother me for the rest of my. I need to talk to him. I'm going to reach out to Matt Barnes, man. You drove 95 miles, B? I can't say mad at nobody like that.
I know. Listen, I know back in days and times in D.C. in the late 80s and early 90s when certain folks, shout out to Wayne Perry, wouldn't have driven 95 miles to collect on a contract. But that's neither here nor there, man. That's one of them joints where
you tell somebody when I see you. You know what I'm saying? We've been there.
When I see you, it's on.
When I see you.
It's about it's about who see who first.
In the words of Prodigy, I ain't no tough guy, right? You know what I mean? But it's about who see who first. Right, exactly. Like when I see you. But man. And shout out to Skyview. He has a comment. He says Derek Fisher is in violation of Man Code 128.22.
I agree.
.24, Section 38.
Agree.
Yeah, there's certain women that are just off limits, man. There's enough poon around in this world that you don't have to go violate that. Especially, their reputation, they must have sunshine as well because with their reputation, athletes continuously come to them. So it's the reputation, all the stuff she's done, but, she must be amazing at her job of coital exercise.
Coital exercise specialist. With,
absolutely, man.
With a specific technique, the trouser-friendly kiss.
Shout out to Shaq for keeping it in the stack when he was dealing with her. Shaq dealt with him.
He was dealing with the other one. No, that was the other one.
I know the other one who's Gilbert's BM, but Shaq was Shaq made sure that she knew what her role was. Shaq wasn't her lovey-dovey. Shaq was let me come.
Can I come put it in?
Joe, just Google, for those who don't know, Google Shaq's text messages to Gilbert Arenas' BM. Listen, and you'll die laughing.
Well, I think we're going to get into Tough Juice's book a little later on, and so we can dive into Gilbert Arenas. Come on, brother. Why you laugh at the brother? You dropped an autobiography.
Because my man Gilbert play with the guns, man.
But even before we get to that, a related story. Laura Govan, Gilbert has sued her for defamation of character and some other things because Laura Govan is allegedly running around the blogosphere, telling the world that former Washington Wizard Gilbert Arenas was guilty of giving her the rotten crotch, and that's why, that's why she rolled out because Gilbert was messing with so many hoes. Every other way we go. Anyway, he was guilty of that, and that is what led to the demise of their relationship and him going off the deep end. We'll talk about Gilbert 1 Agent 0 later on in the show, but just a related story. The Govan sisters have been through a lot, man. They've been through a lot.
No, but I'm just thinking about this, right? And like you said, we'll talk about Gilbert. For somebody to have that chip on his shoulder like he had, to get in the league the way he did, to basically work his way to that $100 million contract. I mean, had a lot of that drama that goes on with a first-round draft. He was, he's dug in.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna keep it a million. There's a gentleman that's associated with our show and a part of our illustrious company, War Room Sports, the one, Dr. Akil Bayon. That is the only human being that I know that works on basketball as much or more than Gilbert Arenas at one point in time in his life. And for those of you that know Doc Bay, y'all know how much he worked on the game. Not from dusk till dawn, 12 hours, didn't matter, 3,000 makes in a day type. That's Gilbert Arenas. To put that type of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and then to have it all go away. Man, we'll talk about it later, man. We got to get
absolutely, on. Man. Speaking of soap operas and chicks and how they bring you down, man. Yo, Victor Cruz, man, his fiance, realized that he was doing his thing. What's the word they use in Coming to America? He was soiling his royal oats.
Sowing his royal oats.
She decided to send a mass text message to him as well as all of his side Johns copied, basically explaining who she was and introducing them to each other and said, hey, we should all talk so now we can figure out who this is we've been messing with.
So she went out and said, go blow la la. Oh.
Yeah, that. But this is crazy. Like, my man Victor Cruz is trying to work his way back on the field. This is an unneeded distraction. But obviously he was he was taking care of business out there in the New York area. He was putting in work and, got called to the carpet, man. This is ugly, man. This is ugly. And the worst part about this is the text messages leaked, and it's sort of like in 2015, like, these Booger Jones got a platform for that. Like, there's literally
Booger Jones.
That's what they look for. Like, they look for this.
To our lady, our female listeners, particularly those of a certain age, youthful, without the maturity to know better and the wisdom to understand, do not go outside of your circle and embarrass yourself. I'm not talking about him because it could be said that he's a scumbag and a dirtball and deserving. But what this young lady did was play herself as opposed to really accomplish it. Like, I listen, I can't get in the midst of their thing as a married man and suggest that she should walk away or that she should. I have no specific advice other than to say that his act of infidelity could be viewed as deplorable. But, young lady, don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. You played yourself. You played yourself out of position. And to both of them, yet again, we have a dual JoJo candidate. You should be ashamed of yourself, the way you carry yourself. Victor Cruz for getting caught and his fiance for playing herself. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Like, now, see, the thing is, I've known dudes that got in a situation like this, but they did it on purpose. Like, they basically got caught on purpose because that was the way out. I don't know whether that's what he did or not.
She's going to marry him. She's going to marry him. She's not leaving that salary on the table.
Damn. So you just basically called her a gold digger, more or less, because you
ain't
say
that she's looking
you ain't say that. She loves him and she's going to try to work through their problems. She ain't going to leave that. Got you. She ain't going to leave that salary, man. Oh, man. Anyway, man. Let's talk about DraftKings as well as FanDuel, right? Now, everybody knows they've seen what DraftKings and what FanDuel is. Shout out to them for showing interest in us. We're still on talks. But anyway, that's either here nor there. DraftKings employees reportedly won almost $6 million on rival site FanDuel by using some of the information from their site, take it to the other site to win a couple dollars. What is your thoughts on this?
DraftKings and FanDuel, we love what you do here at the War Room. We have no thoughts. I have no comments. Please sponsor us. I'm not, like I said, there's only so much I'm going to say at this point. But with that being said, here's what I found. I looked at this a different way. For those who don't know, I am a consummate hustler. At one time, I had an online casino years ago. It was called UptownGambler. It was called UptownGambler.com. Yo, this is a true story. Like, you can go look at the history of the domain name. Wait, hold on, brother. You had a casino. Let's pause.
I had my own online casino.
Pause for a second. You had Jimmy the Blueprint Williams, a.k.a. War Room Jimmy, owned and operated his own casino. Listen, come on.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it.
All right, go ahead.
our fans, right? So I owned an online casino. This was years ago. This was in the early 2000s. I had this idea. So I found this site. They had the actual gambling license, which was offshore. And I had a domain name, and basically they sent me all the algorithms and the software to run the casino. And the deal was I was split with them. To make a long story short, during the course of football season, I was making a couple dollars. Like, I wasn't getting rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I would say I was making $1 or $2 grand every week during football season, right? From people gambling on the site, betting on sports. Now, it was only legal because I didn't hold the license, in Pennsylvania where gambling wasn't legal at the time. What happened was it wasn't just me. There were many other entrepreneurs who were out there doing the same thing. So, Congress and the president at the time, who was George Bush, got involved. And with one signature on the pen, George W. shut my business down. They just basically made it illegal because they were college kids who were gambling away their school checks and all kinds of it. So to make a long story short, what I'm getting at is this. That business, I went from making a couple grand a week to making $0. It just with, George W. Bush, who don't like black people anyway, and Kanye West's, words. But I thought about this when I saw this because FanDuel as well as DraftKings, and I'm not saying anything bad about either one of them because, we love you here in the War Room. But
we love FanDuel and DraftKings.
Specifically FanDuel, but that's either here and there for a specific reason. But there really hasn't been a lot of legislation towards this now. And I see that this year they had a big marketing blitz. You see them everywhere. So I wonder moving forward whether the politicians will get involved because one, either they're going to want a piece or they're going to try to find a way to control it.
Legislation was already floated as of 3 weeks ago with regards to this specific incident. It's in the House. It will go to the Senate. They are trying to make moves, and we will find out the result. I think the biggest difference between your situation is they spent per company over $250 million in 2015 alone on marketing, advertising, and promotion. So what that should tell you is, as of 2015, DraftKings had a $900 million valuation, and so they have the money to affect policy and legislation in Washington.
But that was my question. In terms of the money you make towards that, how much of it went to a PAC? DraftKings,
either DraftKings or FanDuel, you probably would know actually before I would. One of those two companies is actually a Disney portfolio company. So Disney themselves invested $250 million.
Don't quote me on this. Well, this is the War Room. Somebody will tell us if we're wrong. We don't do no research.
Either way,
I think it's DraftKings that is owned by Disney.
I believe that you're correct. DraftKings, as of this year, first quarter, took in $250 million in new money equity investment from Disney. And so Disney, as you know, owns CBS. They own ESPN. They own big part of DraftKings now. So they're a moneymaker. They're an obvious moneymaker. And depending on what stats you look at and demographics, upwards of 15% of the American population is engaged in fantasy sports. And it's a growing market. So what that translates to is essentially 50 million people are involved in fantasy sports. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't going.
Yeah, and what's funny?
They'll cut it.
You're right. They do have the bread to fight it. You know what I'm saying? But I just found it interesting, man, because if they do fight it or what have you, and because I didn't even know about the legislation 3 weeks ago. Thank you for telling me that. I didn't know that, but that's the first thought I had when I read the story. Was when are the politicians going to get involved because it's going to happen. So that's interesting, and somebody's always getting paid. Anytime you see legislation happen, and whether it goes one way or the other, somebody's getting a check. No shots at our politicians, but because there's no need to be sending you shots, because I send shots at you all day long on social media. But that's interesting, man. You know what? As an aside, right? I always find it amazing that Walt Disney's creation of this mouse turned into this gargantuan company. That's always amazing to me. My man had an idea of this little mouse, and now it's ruling entertainment and media. How crazy is that?
Madness.
Only in America. But it's bananas though, right? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, man. So shout out to both sites. Another story that happened while you were on around one, Stephon Marbury, are bringing the Starburys back. We talked about that last week, but this week, which I don't even know if he would believe some of this stuff or Steph is just in his marketing bag. He went in on Michael Jeffrey Jordan, other sneaker giants, talking about how his sneakers are made in the same place and they only cost $5 to make, and Michael Jordan should be ashamed of himself for selling sneakers for this, that, and the third, and he kind of went in. What do you think about Steph calling out MJ? I thought it was just him using what I like to call the Curtis Jackson School of Marketing.
I support Steph's product. I support his concept, his idea. I definitely will be copying at least 5 to 6 pairs of Starburys. With that being said, I thought it was Bush League. Not out of bounds. It's a tactic that we see all the time. You mentioned one, Curtis Jackson. You know what he does when he's got a product to release or an album coming out. But I thought it was Bush League. You didn't need to do that in order to market your product. There's enough buzz around a $15 shoe or a $15 or $20 shoe in a $150 to $300 sneaker market. You're already going to make waves.
Peep this though. Now, I hear what you're saying, but I heard more talk about his shoe this week than I ever have, and it was only because he did what he did. Not saying that he had to do it, but essentially it worked. Because I've saw more people talk about Steph and his shoe and what it means and all that this week than I have ever, and the shoe's been out forever. And it was only because he came at the God. You know how Michael Jordan fans are. Even if they were coming at his sneak, I've seen a lot of Jordan fans, his sneaks is trash, and they're going in. The fact of the matter is, you're talking about it. So essentially it worked. As an aside, shout out to, who put it in the chat room, Roto Experts.
Yeah.
I say Lenny from Roto Experts.
I don't know. Maybe that moves the needle. Is there going to be a re-release? Is the re-release soon? Like, is it now or has it already
it's supposed to be very soon. Oh, no, but real quick, though, be awesome.
Yep.
DraftKings didn't get the $250 million from Disney. People thought they got $250 million, but they didn't. Someone put the link in the chat room. So shout out to the Roto Experts and Lenny from the Roto Experts. We appreciate the information. So, anyway, but back to Steph, though. The thing about it is we talked about this last week, how people are going to view the sneak because of the price and the mentality of someone who spends that kind of money on a Jordan, whether it be a sneakerhead or someone. So there's so many different ways to look at this this whole topic, because I get where Steph is coming from, and I know that people were attacked for wearing Jordans, but people also are attacked for having laptops and iPhones, and no one ever criticizes Tim Cook at this point for that, the same way they go at Mike. But Mike's also an a-hole, so I love when people criticize Mike. But the fact of the matter is, Steph is being talked about more this week than ever before. You know what I'm saying? Skyview says they'll be like Shaq shoes that Wally wrote after a minute. And Shaq shoes were the same way. They didn't cost that much, but they were made in the same place as Jordans too. But the fact of the matter is that value is put on it by them charging so much.
Shaq shoes is way cornier.
I mean, some people don't like his logo, but I'm talking about in terms of the quality of the shoe. Not necessarily the look, because that's a whole other thing, like what they look like. But the thing about a Shaq shoe as well as Starbury, some of their shoes were complete rip-offs of a Jordan. So they took the same exact shoe and just switched the logo, but that logo has value.
That's the Asian way.
Yo, I didn't say that. Those aren't the thoughts of the company. That's B. Austin right there, man. Come on, beloved. Anyway.
We gotta move on and talk about my man Josh Freeman.
Former first-round quarterback Josh Freeman, man. My man is still at it, trying to play in the league. But as of right now, my man just made his debut with the Brooklyn Bolts. And not only did he make his debut with a team called the Brooklyn Bolts, I didn't know Brooklyn had a football team on any level. He stunk it up at that level.
Get them.
My man stunk it up for the Brooklyn Bolts. So,
get them.
What do you think Josh Freeman should do at this point, man?
Run to the roof of the highest skyscraper and jump off. No, we don't wish those morbid thoughts on anyone. I believe that without evidence of serious physical injury, Josh Freeman's free fall is mental.
Mm-hmm.
We're witnessing a mental block, not unlike what happened to Tiger Woods when Elin took the toots away. When Elin took the Myras away, Tiger has never been able to get his spiritual and sexual equilibrium back. Mm-hmm. Something similar is going on with Josh Freeman, because you don't just go from a starting NFL quarterback, alibi not necessarily a very good one, but a very talented one, to bombing out for the Bronx Bombays. I'm sorry, the Brooklyn Bolt Belts, whoever. You don't that doesn't happen. So it's a mental thing.
Yeah. I think he should go away. And just to be also going to go back to your point, the whole thing with the DraftKings thing, I just looked at that link, a little bit of the link that was on the Forbes website. It says that they didn't get the 250, but they're still doing business together. As of 2016, DraftKings will be the only site to be able to advertise on ESPN. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, obviously, because we're doing the show, but so they're still going to do some sort of business. So Mickey Mouse still might have horns instead of ears. At any rate, man, like, the world is crazy, man. We gave out a lot of JoJo awards on that grind segment, but we got to keep the show moving. B. Austin, people are having a birthday, so let's get on to giving some birthday shout outs so we can move the show along, good brother.
Absolutely, and birthdays are brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. Top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. Financing options are available to you. Visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4203. And for discounted rates, be sure and share with them that the War Room Sports Boys sent you. Birthdays.
Happy birthday. It's my birthday. Yay!
Travis Pastrana, the great Travis Pastrana, turns 32 today. Rashaan Salaam, former Chicago Bears, really a journeyman NFL running back, turns 41. The coach, Monty Williams, turns 44. Tony Eason turns 56. And, of course, I would be remiss without taking the time to share a very special happy birthday, and I love you very much, to my wife, Lisa, of LisaAndersonHair.com. She turns 21 again on October 9th tomorrow. These are your birthdays.
Happy birthday, Lisa. We got the homie Tobias on the line. We're going to get to him in a minute because, he got to tell us what's going on in his sports world, Derrick Rose and Roll Damn Tide or what have you. But before we do that, check out our website at www.warroomsports.com. I don't know why I just did that. I hate when people say www in 2015. We got to stop that. While you're there, though, sign up for the War Report. That's our company newsletter. You can click on the Contact Us tab to send us a message about our company or our show, or inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For general inquiries, email us. That's info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing the site, click on the Memorabilia tab to buy War Room Sports merchandise. Click the Blog tab to read our latest articles in the All Fair and Sports and War blog. Then click the respective icons and tabs to like our Facebook page, to follow us on Twitter. All of our social media contacts are on the website. If you want to subscribe to our iTunes podcast, you can do that right there. Watch our webcast on War Room Sports TV. Everything is right there on the website. The entire podcast network is on the website. And you can also download our free mobile apps, which is iOS and Android. Everything is on warroomsports.com. As of right now, if you want to join us in the JW Philly Realty chat room, you can do that by going to Blog Talk Radio /The War Room. To enter the chat room, sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to create an account, I understand that, but you can still sign up for your Facebook or Twitter accounts. While you're at it, click follow to get updates and reminders about our show. We'll be taking questions, reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, as well as the chat room during the show. If you want to call in and speak with us, you can dial the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. And you can press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. Shout out to everybody in the chat room right now holding it down. Fred Perdue will be on at around 7 o'clock to talk some college football. But let's be honest here. We got the homie on the line who wants to call and talk a little bit. So let's get to him before we move on.
No. Yeah. Hashtag let's be honest here. Friend of the war room. Friend of the war room. Tobias.
No doubt.
Roll damn time. What's good, baby?
Get him on here and see what's going on with Tobias.
Tobias, you with us?
What's going on? Hold on. I got it. Tobias.
Roll damn time.
There he is.
Absolutely.
What's up, good brother?
Hey, sorry I missed you guys. I was heading to class last week, taking these Cisco courses. But anyway, couple things I want to talk about. I was surprised Jay Coconut messed the game up last week. That was good. And Nick Judd from Georgia got that fantasy football touchdown where you're down an 80-yard run, you're down 38-3. Doesn't really count, that partner. But anyway, I got to say this real quick. First things first. Hey, y'all I know y'all about Derrick Rose. I hear these anonymous sources. These anonymous sources are like Derek Fisher, the guy who tried to play the male friend, but ain't man enough to say what he wanted in the beginning. Put your name on it if you got something to say. It may be true, but put your name on it.
Here's
two more things real quick. Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes are ruining for light-skinned dudes, man. I just call it light-skin on light-skin crime. This is how light-skinned dudes handle relationship issues, you see. Dark-skin. But I'll say this real quick. I heard y'all talking about Stephon Marbury going at Jordan. And see, the deeper issue than people saying, oh, the shoes cost too much. One, just about everything costs too much. Nobody made anyone put a gun to anyone's head. Sorry for saying that reference, but the truth. To say you got to buy these Jordans. Because I'm sorry here. It is business. This is the price. This ain't about philanthropy. I'm going to say something to be very unpopular. If you can't afford something, look in the mirror. It ain't their job to make it affordable for you. I'm just being honest here. Because, hey, my folks made a sacrifice to provide for us, and I don't have any children yet at this stage of my life. But I make sure I'm in a position where I don't have to worry about the price. Because what I know Steve Jobs, when he was alive, a lot of them folks got iPhones, PlayStations, Samsung TVs and Galaxies, LeBron and Kobe shoes. So if you
here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Tobias, companies are in business to make money. Let's not mistake that, right? I remember the famous economist Milton Friedman once said that a company's only job is to make profit. The whole thing about being social and being responsible, that's not what a company is for. A company's only, I don't know if I completely agree with that, but I understand the premise, right? So it's a mentality, and there's a book out there called Brandwash that I read. And it talks about, and Jordan is mentioned in the book, about how certain brands have the ability to have people brandwashed. So I get exactly where you're coming from. We kind of dictate what's going on in culture and society, because the only power we have as a citizen is the power of our dollar. You know what I mean? So if people are willing to pay that, though, that's what the price will be. If people all stop buying Jordans, I guarantee you the price will come down. But the fact of the matter is they have that value, that something's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for. But here's the thing about it. Like I said when I started, I don't know if Steph necessarily believes that. I think Steph was trying to just get attention to the fact that he's bringing his shoe back. And to me, I don't think that all attention is good attention, but I know that may have been what he was doing. Or Steph I don't know Steph, so he could have felt that way. But the fact of the matter is, just me being on the internet this past week, I see more talk about Marbury and his shoes than I ever had, because he went right at Mike.
And you know what? And I had to break this to people, but don't yell at Mike. Yell at Phil Knight. They the one that own the Air Jordan brand. Mike gets a cut. Now, you want to yell at Mike over those god-awful Jumpmans, go right ahead. Because, like, you talk power of brand. I believe the Air Jordan 11, the patent leather ones, everybody be going crazy over, are the most overrated pair he ever came out with.
Now we got to disagree. Right, here's the thing. I never have. There's only one pair of Jordans I've ever bought in my entire life. I do not buy Jordans. I refuse to support them. But I ain't gonna front. I did buy them 11s before though.
That's what I'm talking about. The 11s.
I bought them 11s. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I bought them 11s like back in the day. Those are the only ones I bought. Other than that, like FOH to Mike in general, like I try to be a social consumer when I want to. I'm a hypocrite at times as well, but at the same time, like them 11s was fine.
They were hot. but you know what the issue is also. But here's the issue though people miss out on. I remember when those Starbirds came out. Every city does not have a Stephen Barry, so he got to approve the distribution also. Also,
I don't know. I don't even know what the distribution is going to be this time because Stephen Barry isn't in business at this point. So
that's what I'm saying. And I'll say this real quick, Jimmy. I'll say this real quick. The thing also is, you remember this? We're all about the same age here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sell as many other. Yeah, look at you. I forgot Mr. Africa. You know, came back all brand new anyway. But anyway,
I found that fountain.
They don't sell
I found that fountain of youth that they've been looking for. Ponce de Leon.
Yeah, but you know, but they don't sell as many Jordans. Especially reduce the number to build that anticipation. And see, a lot of shoe companies are doing that because what's the urgency in getting a shoe if everybody could buy one like back in the day when you could walk in the store and get the 11th?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they do with the Kanyes and all that. In our chat room, who said that? I think it was Leroy said, supply and demand. That is what they do. And then by the time they do that, you have people who will sit in line for weeks, and you have sneaker collectors, or even people who will buy them just so they can go mark the price up online. So but sneakers at this point have its own culture. You know what I mean? Like there's a culture with sneakers now. It's not like it was when we were coming up. There really was no sneaker culture back in the day. I mean, you got what you thought was fly, but right now it's like an entire culture behind that. But I shout to Steph. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. When they come out, but I thought it was interesting to see that many people talk about Stephon Marbury this week because he's never got that kind of attention. You know what I'm saying? He threw rocks at the throne, man, and Jordan Sickle fans came out and went at his neck.
It's funny because Steph gets the publicity on the other side of the world because he's still playing. He's definitely going to the Basketball Hall of Fame based on winning like 3 or 4 championships and being a 5 or 6 time CBA All-Star. Salute to my man Steph, 18-8 in the NBA, man. They gypped you, bro. They gypped you. 3 times.
Hey, y'all guys know what? I'll say this before y'all go. First, people don't realize he was an all-time point guard prospect coming out of college. It wasn't like, okay, good. He was like one of the top 5 overall point guard prospects ever. And I'll say this real quick, y'all get to it. Well, why y'all gonna let Derek Fisher play that male friend role? Gonna talk about, hey, she's just my friend, and hang out with old girl, and then things go a little sour. He want to make his move then. I'm sorry. hey, I bet Carmelo will be like, nah, Lala ain't got nothing to say to you.
Yo, man.
Why do you do stay taking both girls?
Steph Curry got to put a call in and stop this crime y'all committing on each other, man, because he the king of light-skinned brothers right now. He got to put the call in, man.
Hey, definitely. But anyway, but you guys have a good one, man.
All right, Tobias. Thanks for the call, man. Thanks for the support as always. Take it easy.
All right, peace.
That's Tobias, everybody. He was tickled.
Yeah, we definitely gonna get into some hot topics. Like I said, Fred Purdue from About.com will be on in about 15 minutes. But let's jump into some hot topics, which are brought to you by Audible.
No doubt.
If your schedule is too hectic to read as much as you want, try audiobooks and kick back and let someone else do the reading for you. All you have to do is visit Audible and sign up for your free trial. That's audibletrial.com/warroomsports. Again, audibletrial.com/warroomsports because we have it set up with our sponsor to give you a free audiobook on us. Right now, Audible, the most recent book I got was the Jalen Rose book. The Jalen Rose book is actually pretty dope. Jalen's reading it himself. I'm almost done already. I just started the book, I believe, Tuesday. It came out Tuesday, and I started it on Tuesday. It's on Audible.
I imagine that's a hell of a read.
It was a dope ass book, man.
It's a hell of a read.
It's a dope ass. He's very honest about his upbringing, relationship with his father. So it's not just about basketball, but it's a lot. It's a lot of basketball in there. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely would recommend that book. And if you want to get the book for free, go to audibletrial.com/WarRoomSports. Get the Jalen Rose book for free on us. You know what I mean? If you don't like the service, don't continue. But if you do, then, it is what it is. Anyway, let's talk into some hot topics. The first thing I want to do before we start talking about any specific thing is, man, I just want to give a shout-out to the entire month of October. You're talking about the NFL, being quarter of the way done, NBA, NHL, NBA and NHL both are getting started, Major League Baseball postseason. So, at the beginning of the summer, we go through a little drought without sports, but now it's sports every damn night. And it's very exciting. Like, it's to the point now we're even watching some of the summer league games. So shout out to what's going on in the world of sports. The NFL is full swing right now, man. Speaking of Major League Baseball, the Yankees played in the wild card game, but before then, CC Sabathia was going to miss the playoffs because he was checking himself into a rehab. Man, my man has an alcohol problem, and he said he had to take care of it. He respects his teammates, wanted to be there with him or whatever, but he had to take care of himself. I found this to be very interesting, especially leading into the playoffs. What do you think about this, B. Austin?
As I followed this story, one of the more interesting parts of this is how you treat people and your personal brand, the resulting part of your personal brand, really colors the way stories work. Because CC Sabathia is so respected around Major League Baseball and specifically in the Yankees clubhouse that him having to go into rehab is seen as not a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal because of the time of year. Obviously, that brother is fighting some demons that he needs to take care of. God bless him, and War Room Sports wishes him well in that fight, and we know that he will triumph. But just the reaction around Major League Baseball, it's resounding support from players, managers, and back office personnel management as well as fans. I haven't seen a lot of self-righteous condemnation of his actions or, anyone knocking him. And that, I think that's based directly on him being a quote unquote good guy in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. You see, basically he wasn't an a-hole. Like, it's because you can see how people feel about their teammates when they go through something. Not to be an a-hole, but when Barry Bonds was going through that, not really any of his teammates stepped up, and said a kind word about him. But it was interesting, man. He had to take care of himself, man. We definitely, let's see, it's a call on the line. It's several calls on the line. Let's get this caller right here, calling in from New York. You're in the War Room. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is the mystery caller, but I am in the chat room, and just want to say that I enjoy listening to your show. You're doing a heck of a job, you guys. Really nice show to listen to.
We appreciate it.
Among other things, I know you were talking about the DraftKings, FanDuel, DFS stuff, and it really comes down. First of all, the reporting is all over the place. There was an article
it
came out. There's an article that came out this morning with the headlines reading that Jason Robbins does not want any regulations. He doesn't want it to be regulated. That's what the headline said. But if you read the article, it's not exactly what he said. So it's that kind of thing. It was $350,000. And another article claimed that DraftKings employees have won $10 million, and then they send out a statement saying, they try to fool the public by saying nobody can play on another site. And you mentioned it before. I'll call my brother in Cleveland, and I'll split it with him, and that kind of stuff. But the bottom line, it's not about gambling anymore. It's not about whether it's gambling or not. It's not about what's better, season long or daily. The fact is that until they can prove, now they have raised the specter of impropriety, until they can show that they have in place a system that will prevent everything, including being hacked, which is impossible to do. All right, so they may not be 100% there, but a system in place where an employee cannot go in and change lineups, and I've heard those kind of things happen, and all that kind of stuff, they will be in a lot of trouble, because I don't think, if I had a business or if you guys had this kind of business and you had your system in place, wouldn't you be jumping up and down, yelling and screaming, come over here, look, inspect it, here's what we got. It's impossible to happen. Just because they said that he didn't get the information until after the thing was locked, of course. I mean, O.J. said he didn't do it either, okay?
Yeah.
So, but they have to show and prove.
And Ashley Madison said they couldn't be hacked either.
Yeah, they could. Well, you know what? Listen, to say 100% hacking, that's impossible. I don't think anybody can do that in today's day. But they've got to have a system in place that will satisfy whatever regulations have to be met. And you know something? The fact that they haven't demanded that somebody take a look at it now tells me that they don't have it in place, and it will take a while until they do. Now, here's the other thing. Very interesting situation. They made the announcement that employees can no longer play in the system, okay? And that's fine. Yeah. We all know ways around it. However, if you went into the lobbies last night of FanDuel and DraftKings, all the sharks were missing.
Oh.
Makes you wonder who the sharks are. I mean, I went in there last night. It was, I would say it was empty. I'm sorry?
Experience with the site. I said, obviously,
I have experience in this thing. I'm in the industry. I have a long experience.
Let me ask you a question. What do you see in terms of the future? Because I mean, there was a big push this year. So, and you know, if you can speak on it, what do you think is the future with these two companies moving forward?
I think it's very clear. If they can show without a shadow of a doubt that they have a system in place that can prevent beyond a shadow of a doubt that employees cannot enter the system and make changes, employees cannot get information. I was listening to Jason Robbins today, and he said that, you know, we have a lot of customer service situations where people have questions with their lineups. They'll call and they'll say, I made a change, but I don't see it. And people have to go in and check the lineups. You know something? Bull dinky. If you think you made a mistake, you cancel out. You can't have people going into the system and looking at lineups. It just doesn't work. Now, it's got to be regulated. There's no question about it. We all know that it's gambling, and the fact that they try to pull that crap saying it wasn't gambling, that bothers me. The fact that they try to pull the crap and say because nobody can play on other sites, that bothers me, because we all know that's a bunch of bull dinky. Okay, so those are the kind of things that irritate me. Also, the arrogance. You know, in New York, in Lotto, we all know that Lotto is a crap. I mean, Lotto is Lotto, right?
Yeah.
But they say the motto is you never know, right?
Yep.
Isn't that the motto? That's you never know, indicating that, hey, look, we all know it's 1 million to 1, 10 million to 1, 50 million to 1, but take a shot. You never know, right? But in DFS, all you got to do is put your $5 down, pick a team, and then pick up your money. They prey on the weaknesses of a lot of people in this country who believe that it's really possible to win the $1 million, and you know something, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
So you're
Thanks
saying
for your call.
That's
an excellent point. We definitely appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
But I do think it has a future if they can prove that they have a system in place that can handle all the situations that could arise. But the public right now, the perception of impropriety has to be dealt with. And if they can meet the requirements, then they'll survive. But if they can't, I don't care how much money's involved. By the way, Disney's not involved. Yeah, I put that up in the chat room.
The one thing we do know is that Americans will gamble. I mean, history has shown us that. Like, no matter what barriers are put there, we want to gamble. So I'm surprised at states where it's still illegal to gamble. I'm shocked these days when I see that, because the one thing we do know is people will gamble. So, and they have.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. Right now, you want to gamble, you have to go to a casino. All right, you have to get in your car. You got to go to a casino. From the confines of your own home on the computer, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Because they got rid of the post. I remember I used to play cards online. I played for money online all the time. I used to have 3 and 4 laptops running. They got rid of that. So, but anyway, definitely thank you for
I'll tell you one other thing before I'm sorry to take up so much time.
Go ahead.
I don't give a crap if it's gambling. It's gambling. Who cares? Who cares? I used to own harness racing horses, okay? And my driver or trainer would call me, make sure you come tonight and bring your family. Why? Because he knew I'd be in a picture, right? So I don't care if it's gambling or it's not gambling. Yeah. That's up for corporate and that's up for the government. As far as I'm concerned, I'll play it either way.
You want the corporate governance piece, and you want the company to have some semblance of good faith with the consumer.
And I just want them to be honest.
Yeah.
The only reason they say it's not gambling is because they'll be regulated and taxed. It's going to come out of their pocket. I don't like being lied to. When you're being lied to, that indicates that there's more to come, and that's what bothers me. Thank you for your time, guys.
Yes. Great call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great call.
We appreciate your insight and perspective. Man, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. And I do a show on Blog Talk every morning. So.
Okay, what's the name of your show?
Thanks. Take care. It's at 9 a.m. It's a stupid show, but it's okay.
No.
All right. Anyway, I'm here at 9 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, and have fun. Nice to listen to you guys. All right. You'll see my name in the chat room, and
we'll take a listen to your show. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll listen.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, he made a lot of excellent points, and the one point I just want to expound on real quick before we move forward is the fact that they try to say it's not gambling. It's playing a game that's not gambling, which is true. And the one thing he said was, who are you lying to? When I feel like you're lying to me because no one is stupid, then I feel like there's more to come. That's an excellent point because they did try to say it's not gambling. We all know it's gambling. I'd rather you just be flat out honest and say, look, it's gambling, and let's just deal with it from this point. But no one likes to pay them tax dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think there would be a fine. There would be consequences and repercussions for the perceived misleading.
Yeah, but it's interesting nonetheless to see what happens with the whole thing moving forward. Fred Perdue will be calling in very shortly, but before we get him on, we got the homie calling from California. Rob, what's good?
Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy Big Rob, a.k.a. Fisher. Keep your guard up, man. A.k.a., yo, Matt Barnes, man, the first and only pretty boy gone. But anyways, man, you know why I'm here.
Yo, man. Listen, that story, it may be the greatest story this week, and everyone who's called me, they want to chime in on that story. Because it's pretty comical. There's so many different ways to look at that story, and I know some people got pissed. I saw some people online who were actually saying, you guys are making a joke of this. This is a man who's trying to control his ex-woman even though he's not with her. This is chauvinistic, and they went that route with it, which is somewhat true, but it's still funny. We're going to make jokes about it. Yo, someone can die in 2015. Them jokes going to fly, man. Like, we got to get these jokes off, man. With that being said,
it's all about the memes. It's the meme game.
It's about the memes, beloved. And there are Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes memes on IG. Just look up the hashtag. But Rob, your man Matt Barnes, though, man, how did he drive 95 miles and not calm down, though? Tell me that one.
I mean, the thing is in Hollywood, and this is something my pops always tells me, is that, and this is kind of like a curse, celebrities don't date with, they stay basically, they keep it in the family, they stay within the circle. The problem with Derek Fisher is he dated a celebrity, he basically dated, you can't date your teammates' women, that just can't happen. I mean, you see the drama with, Paul Gasol and the rumors were spreading, which we only know the truth. And they threw Shannon Brown in it. So, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, looking at Gloria, hey, I would go crazy too and drive 95 miles to beat Derek Fisher. But
I mean, here's the thing though. I wasn't gonna go there. I mean, I wasn't gonna go there. Right? I'm not going 95 miles. I mean, that's a long thing. I'm not gonna say that if I didn't see Gloria, it wouldn't be like. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna chill on that. But
I
do want to. What I do want to say is this: outside, is there anything that anybody can do to you that will keep you so pissed that you'll drive 95 miles to go fight? I don't know. Like I told me and B. Austin, we talked about it, how we come from a different time. It's one of the things where we like, look, when I see you, it is what it is. But 95 miles?
I was gonna say this and move on. Hey, you never know, because this is Derek Fisher, the one who was vice president of Players Association, the NBA, the one who was a nice guy, who at times when the Lakers didn't have a goon, you know.
Nice guys get yams too.
He would do like elbowing or headbutting. You could say headbutting Louis Scola. Now this is a nice guy, so maybe he felt some type of way. Like, damn, I thought this dude was nice. Dang, if it was Shannon Brown or Nick Young or somebody or Kobe, I've been crazy. I would have been like, damn. But Derek Fisher, I don't know. We don't know how Barnes is. We don't know how Barnes is. That dude he's a goon.
Yeah, he's kind of sick, you know. Anyway, man, Rob, before we get you out of here, man, I got to ask you before you go, what's really good with your Eagles, man? What you think about this weekend, Eagles and Saints?
Well, all I gotta say is this: thank God basketball is on. You know, Lakers doing good. I mean, excuse me. They orchestrated a team in the way that they shaping the playoffs. The Lakers may probably have a shot to get the 8th or 7th seed, but the Eagles, man, hey, man, the Eagles, you should rename the Eagles the Titanic, because it's going down, and hey, the ship is going down. I mean, against the Saints, I'm just it don't.
Come on, man, say it. What you think, man? They gonna win or lose? What you think?
I don't know. I mean, this is
really hurting Rob. Rob is really deliberating here.
Rob is in deep thought about the Saints. Like, is it that deep?
I'm even deep thought about the season. I mean, I'm not even looking towards this season. I'm looking towards the off season. What are they going to do? Because I already know on a schedule, even after this game, you got to play the Panthers, who are looking good right now. You know, B. Austin thinks they're mediocre. Not even mediocre, just phony.
Nah, just the quarterback is mediocre.
Damn.
Oh, great.
I think Cam is actually having an excellent season. Watching him play, he seems to not make the same mistakes that he has in the past. He's taking care of the football.
One season does not above mediocre make.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But what I'm saying is he's playing better. He's a young quarterback. By this time, it's funny because we expect guys to come in and just be like all world as soon as they come in. He's coming into his own, so give him a chance. I mean,
this is his 5th season. You can't use the young guy excuse, man. He went from 4,000 yards to 3,800 to 31 to 3. He's trash.
No, but you're looking at yardage, that's all inflated in this league. You have to look at things contextually.
No, Jimmy, this is me.
This
is not them. They drop him back 40 times a game. Ron Rivera was dropping him back 40 times.
Yo, he's throwing to Ted Ginn Jr., yo. His number one receiver.
As great as y'all say he is, it doesn't matter.
He ain't got nobody.
That great.
He ain't got nobody.
Olsen is nice.
Who said he was great? Who said
he was great? He buried his head.
Okay, we'll lower the bar. We'll lower the bar.
No, not lowering the bar. All I said was he's having a good season, and I'm saying you're judging him. Okay. I don't know what you're judging him based on. Before a guy that's in his 5th year in the league, he's playing well. What I'm saying is these expectations when guys come into the league is out of control. There was a time
I expected to see growth, not regression.
Yeah, but his numbers were inflated to begin with. Like, you know, you gotta give him a time to learn the speed of the game and play the game. I'm not saying that he's going to be all world. What I'm saying is give him a chance. He's playing better this year.
He's had a chance.
No, what I'm saying is he's playing better now than he has played his entire year. Even though the numbers may not match up to the 4,000-yard season, he's playing better football now. He's playing better football now than the year he had those exorbitant number of the exorbitant number of yards. Like, he's playing better now. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't even play the first 3 years.
So he's
And I'm not comparing him to Aaron. I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers.
I was going to let you live. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that to you.
He's in his fifth year. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
So the issues with Cam, it's real easy. He can't read. He has limited touch. Super strong.
Yeah, but
arm.
you're basing this on the past year. This past year,
okay. So now I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you: is he reading the field better? Is he working through multiple progressions? And is he showing you more touch?
Absolutely. On all three things you said, yes, he is. Right. Now, am I saying that he's going to the Hall of Fame? He's going to be great? No. But what I'm saying is, as of right now,
he's better than Andy Dalton.
Football.
That's a direct comparison. Same year. Andy Dalton.
Really?
That's too difficult to say. And the reason I say this
is because Andy Dalton is balling.
Andy Dalton has weapons all over the field.
Andy Dalton is
running back. Forget quarterback. Forget wide receivers. Who's playing running back for the Panthers right now?
Jonathan Stewart was anyway.
Come on,
wow.
Dude. Come on, Cam has no weapon. He has no weapon.
Olsen is no weapon. Olsen, no weapon for him. Olsen is a pretty potent weapon actually. He doesn't have receivers, but then the way that we look at the game, the way I look at the game, because Jimmy may be looking at the skill positions, is if you have a substantial offensive line, and you have a defense that can get stops and get you the ball back, you don't need these all-world weapons in order to be effective with professional athletes. Sure, they're not going to make the wow plays, and they're not going to put together super tremendous games, but if you're getting the ball back and have repeated chances and you're getting the protection you need, then as you develop as a good quality NFL starter, you can begin to make the plays with weapons that are, less than desirable even. We've seen plenty of accomplished quarterbacks.
I understand that. And the guys you're going to name are probably the guys who are all world. But at the same time, because you're going to give me the Brady.
Donovan McNabb did it with James Trash.
Yeah, Donovan McNabb was a product of his system, but that's either here nor there. The thing is, what system is Cam in at this point? Cam has had multiple offensive coordinators. Like, he's dealing with a lot. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to make an excuse for him. He had to grow into what he's playing, but he's playing good football is what I'm saying. And the fact of the matter is, to give him a direct comparison to Andy Dalton is why I start talking about the weapons, because you want to compare him to Dalton. He doesn't have an A.J. Green. A.J. Green has a solid tight end, multiple solid receivers, and he has multiple running backs that are very talented. He has way more weapons than Cam Newton. But their teams have the same record. Cam is playing good football right now. He may stink it up the rest of the season. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, right now, he's playing good football. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to, I watch the game, so I'm watching him play, and I notice him progressing in terms of his touch, reading defense.
I'll be honest, I've only seen one game, so I'm not really qualified to speak deeply. I've watched his career up until this point, and he falls into the category of the typical cliche super athlete QB who maybe hasn't put it together upstairs or with the nuances of the game. He's a guy that's going to end the plays. I just find it unfair
to judge a guy.
It's unfair to judge him based on 4 seasons?
Yeah, at the quarterback position, some guys it takes years to develop into. Some guys it takes years to develop.
It will take years for you to develop into an end product, but I need to see year over year improvement. That's what I don't expect to see an end product.
Statistically, that 4,000-yard season may have been an outlier. But if you look at everything contextually, you look at the offensive coordinators he has. You look at the amount of injuries his team has on the offensive side of the ball. You look at him losing a Steve Smith, losing a Kelvin Benjamin.
Look.
He had Ginn Jr.
So when he had those weapons, when he had Steve Smith, a Hall of Fame receiver, he had Kelvin Benjamin, he had Olsen. It does sound like he had some weapons, but here's what I'll give you guys.
No, but did he have them all at the same time? No, he didn't. He didn't have them all at the same time.
I didn't say he had them all at the same time. I said he had them.
Brandon LaFell too.
Huh? Brandon LaFell?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is the guy's playing better football. You're still giving him like. It sounds to me like you're judging him based on last year or the year before. I said right now, Cam is playing good football. We'll see what happens. Rob, thanks for the call. Thanks for the support.
Thanks, Rob. We appreciate you.
Brother.
One more thing about because I know Cowboy TD. Shout out to Shango for Dallas Cowboy Show. He brought up about the difference between when talking about he was talking about the Cowboys O-line and comparing it. He said the Eagles is star learners too. And you could say it's a team concept. The thing, it wasn't the offensive line that made them good last year. It was chemistry. And the thing is that people are forgetting that this is why Fat Boys win championships, is because they have chemistry. The team concept, because they have chemistry. The thing about
there's a lot of things, Rob. Before you guys want to say, there's a lot of things. It's chemistry. It is a little bit of the offensive line, but it's also what system or scheme you're running too. So that has to play too. So anyway, we'll get you out of here, Rob. Take it easy, man. We'll talk to you. We got our guest about to come on, but thanks for the support, Rob.
All right, peace.
Appreciate you.
We got the homie Fred Perdue of About.com about to bless us with some college football talk. Hey, Fred.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Oh, man, Fred, nice of you to join us, man. Fred, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come down and join the brothers in the War Room. So, man, we appreciate
Fred,
you.
I got some topics I got to talk about in terms of college football. Before I do that, I know you watch a lot of game film. How do you think Cam Newton is playing this season?
I'm actually impressed with Cam Newton. I think him losing Kelvin.
Okay, we can stop. We're gonna stop right there. We're gonna stop right there. That's all I wanted to hear. Hey, because that's all we need to hear. That this year he's playing better football, right? So we agree on that. Anyway,
I was listening. I was actually listening to B. Austin, and Cam Newton is the super athlete, but he's learning to play quarterback, and that's
all I'm saying.
He's learning.
There's some context to this, Fred. Fred, what you'll find is that a broke clock is right twice a day, and Jimmy has been trumpeting Cam since Superman set foot in the NFL.
That's not true.
So
that is not true.
This is the clock being right.
That is not true. Listen, that's not true. Actually, I went in on Cam on this show, and I'll tell you
You have. I mean, you ain't a fool.
I pooped on Cam. I keep it. Listen, but the thing about it is, when you stinking it up, I'll tell you. But when you play better, I'll also tell you.
Jimmy, everybody on this show, with the exception of Fred, because he's biased like a fan, everybody on this show poops on guys that they support or that we all do that. Even the guys that we love, we still tell the truth.
You're making it seem like I represent Cam. I don't represent Cam. I don't represent Cam at all.
That's your man. You're his agent.
I'm definitely not his agent. Anyway, man, listen, Fred Perdue, we got you on to talk some college football. First topic I want to talk about is Auburn. They dismissed wide receiver Duke Williams. What's going on with that?
Well, Duke Williams has been in the doghouse of Gus Malzahn, their head coach, for a while, dating back to before the season. Duke is one of those really tall, long, rangy receivers who have some speed. After last week's game, he actually was in a bar. He decided to punch four individuals. That was the last straw. There were other things that went into it, but it was a lot of coach speak of the player was suspended due to team violations and things such as that. Most coaches aren't going to tell you everything, but that's mainly what it has been. He's just been in and out of the doghouse. He hasn't really produced much. Even when he came back, his conditioning wasn't great, and now he's been dismissed from the team. He's a senior, so that was his last chance. We'll see him going toward the NFL. Somebody will take a flyer on him, but you will hear his name going into the NFL next year. Somebody may take a flyer on him. Someone that needs a really tall, rangy, Dorial Green Beckham type receiver.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's interesting right there. I mean, these coaches are out of control, though. But we'll get into that another day. Let's talk about UCLA linebacker Miles Jack, because he left the school. What's up with the news in college football? It's nothing. It seems like it's getting like the pros now, man. It's negative news. What's going on with Miles Jack?
Miles Jack, very impressive linebacker. I've been impressed with him since his freshman season where he was playing both ways on the ball, at linebacker and running back. But after a meniscus tear, he was shut down for the rest of the season. But he decided to go ahead and just declare for the NFL draft in 2016, and it has a lot to do with compensation. He says he walked into a campus bookstore, saw his number 30 jersey, and said to himself, well, he should be getting compensated for what he's doing. He feels that 2 seasons of game tape is enough to make him a top player. I've heard from random commentators, we're not going to say whose name, and radio hosts as well, that I'm not going that far. I'd never take a middle linebacker that high. Personally, middle linebackers are like running backs. You can get a dime a dozen. He's a very talented player. If he came back for another season, he probably would be in that top 15 to 20 conversation, maybe outside of that top 10, minus the injuries. He's very instinctual. I don't agree with him coming out. 2 years of game tape is not enough. And Jim Moore Jr. is his head coach. He was a head coach in the NFL. His father was a head coach in the NFL. These people know what goes into the drafting process. So he's advising you not to leave, and you continually leave. The thing is, coaches will publicly tell you don't leave, but behind closed doors, I'm pretty sure Miles Jack did speak to Coach Moore, and I'm pretty sure Coach Moore did advise him to leave. Go ahead and chase the money. You're already injured. Go get drafted in the third round. Prove everyone wrong. Stay healthy, and you'll hit a big contract before your career's up in the NFL. You'll last around for 7 or 8 years, and then you can just ride off in the sunset.
You know what? I can't imagine being in that position where you see them selling your jersey in the campus bookstore, and you ain't got. I think this whole thing with
Jimmy, I think I lost you, man.
Your record is because you pop a lot of trash, man, and I got to start holding you accountable for your losses. But we got 3 games we want to ask you about. One is your squad, Miami, which seems to make the game of the week every week, probably because that's your team. You know what I'm saying? But Miami plays number 12 FSU. Who you got winning this game?
Do the right thing, Fred.
Made this pick on my show, the EOS the Ion Sports podcast. I've already made my pick there, so I can't go back on it. I don't like it. I'm kind of playing both sides here. If Miami loses, well, Al Golden's one more step closer to being fired. But if they win, well, they win. So either way, I can't really lose in this. But I've taken the Hurricanes to win 21-20 against a Florida State team that isn't as good as they were last year. Brad Kaya actually the quarterback for Miami has been a sensational between the 20s, and then third down happens, and long third downs actually happen, and the red zone happens, and it becomes Peyton Manning to Tim Tebow, and you know how much of a substantial downgrade that is. Brad Kaya is doing everything you want from a quarterback that's young and really ready to go to the NFL already. But it's his mental brain cramps in those situations make you say, come on back to school, come on back and stay with this offensive coordinator and get a quarterback coach. I really don't like what's going on down there, especially with the play calling. And I just remember last week I said Miami would lose actually 2 weeks ago, they would lose to Cincinnati. Jimmy, about that, man, I tried to tell you.
Well, look, I wasn't taking the guy's side. I was just saying that, he hadn't had a loss at the time, and I've never seen anyone just, get when people going crazy on someone.
This is Al Golden. This man still has not learned how to manage a game the same Temple team that he left has a better record than him at Miami 5 years later. Just saying.
Sheesh.
Just saying. Matt Rhule, shout out to you.
Yeah, this is true. But anyway, man, I mean, that's your team. You seem to have given up on this coach at this point. You're ready for the next coach. So I see what you're going to do the rest of the season. You're going to pick against them because if they lose, like you said, the coach will be gone, and if they win, that's your team getting the win. So you're playing both sides right now.
Fred, in the financial world, that's called hedging.
Anyway, Fred, here's another one. Two ranked teams: number 23 California versus number 5 Utah.
Well, first off, I got to send out a big shout out to one of my former high school classmates, Gianni Paul, number 13. He's a captain at middle linebacker. Got to send out a big shout out to him at Utah. He's been playing very well after he transferred from Miami after being the third leading tackler on the team. Thanks, Al Golden. Thank you. There's always a connection, right? But Cal, they have the presumed number 1 overall quarterback in Jared Goff. He's been pretty good over the last couple of seasons, but Utah has they have a way of just winning games that they're not supposed to win. Blowing out Oregon, by the way, the same Oregon team that lost them to Michigan State a couple weeks ago. That team looks very bad right now. They don't have a quarterback right now, and things are just not looking great for them. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Utah right now. They're too hot, and Travis Wilson, I really like what he's been doing. Devontae Booker at running back as well. They may be a little too much, and their pass rush and the way they blitz, those exotic blitzes. If you have not seen a Utah team play and they have a very similar NFL-type scheme, watch Utah. You'll like what you see. Very athletic on defense as well, very long at corner. B. Austin, stay up, man. Watch this game. I'm telling you, you'll like it.
Okay.
If you want to see quarterback
play, stay away from guys that are long at corners. Pause. But I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, we definitely. All right,
you'll like him as well.
All right, number 10 Oklahoma versus Texas, and I've heard people calling for Texas coach already as well. So, what is your opinion on this game here, Fred? Number 10 Oklahoma versus Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas except the Longhorns, I guess. Oklahoma's going to roll this team. They are going to roll this team. Baker Mayfield looks pretty good. Bob Stoops you can't lose to Texas when they're this bad. TCU, the little brother, the redheaded stepchild, the alma mater of Andy Dalton, the same Andy Dalton that was compared to Cam, I guess. This team destroyed Texas 50-7. My Heisman selection my Heisman Trophy winner selection, Trevon Boykin, he really has found a way to revive himself. If there wasn't a guy named Leonard Fournette at LSU just running over cats and leading college and rushing yardage,
he's leading the NFL too, Fred. If he was in the league, his numbers are so crazy. He may have more than anybody in the league and college right
now. And he could sit out another year, and we're pretty good. If there wasn't a guy named Leonard Fournette, this guy Trevon Boykin would win the Heisman. He would be the front runner. I like Oklahoma to completely obliterate this Texas team. Texas boosters and administration say they're behind Charlie Strong right now. Everyone's behind Charlie Strong until they lose to Oklahoma. You can't lose to Oklahoma. It's like USC losing to Cal in the same season. It's like Al Golden losing to Florida State 5 times in a row. At some point, you have to beat your rival. It's a short-lived career in Texas. If he gets to next year, that's a blessing. Oklahoma destroys Texas.
Okay, all right, they destroy Texas. So you said you don't. If he gets another year, it'd be shocking. But people are like going in about his job. I did see that online this week. I'm like, man, sports is tough, man. Like you get hired to get fired as a coach pretty much in every league, but I don't know why it seems worse in college, man. It seems like college coaches, you get like 2 weeks and they want your job in 2 weeks.
Fans do not understand that as a college coach you have to recruit, and your recruiting is based off of these kids being developed. And B. Austin, we've had this conversation. Kids are developed in high school. You don't see so many spread option quarterbacks. No one actually can throw the ball. If you can't, yes, Texas has great recruiting, but if they don't have the type of recruiting that fits what you want to do, a power run team, a pro-style quarterback, a pro-style defense, a linebacker that can turn and run, long corners that can press and jam. If you can't do any of that, you don't fit what Texas wants.
Well, and it's funny you mention that because you can be a championship successful coach in college if you're able to recruit way above average. If you focus your effort and energies on being the best recruiter of talent,
yes, you have
the game and implementing a system, you can throw in a system that has 10 plays, 10 offensive plays versus an NFL playbook, which is 300 pages, which means you're dealing with upwards of 600 plays. You can go to college if you recruit the right professional level talent that can go to the league and can dominate on the NCAA level. You don't even really got to get into complicated. But
I think that's what makes college sports special, because then you also have guys who are like, just maniac great coaches. Like, that's what makes like March Madness so special. You'll see these guys who don't have the ability to recruit these uber athletes, but they find a way through X's and O's to compete against these teams who consistently do that. But it's just interesting to me, Fred, because it's sort of like a paradigm shift. I remember watching sports as a kid, in both college football and basketball. It's like you had these coaches who were mainstays. Even if they had 2 or 3 bad seasons, they were allowed to continue to build and work with that organization. Like it was to the point where the coaches were the stars of the team. Whether you're talking about a Dean Smith, whether you're talking about a Jerry Tark, whether you're talking about
Bobby Bowden,
Bobby Bowden, and for Florida State, Joe Paterno, guys who were, Joe Paterno had some terrible seasons, but the fact of the matter is these guys were like mainstays. And now you still, of course, you have like a Coach K, but outside of Coach K, man, it's like the turnover in college athletics is crazy now. I guess the demands are just a lot more now than they were, which goes to show you that it's a minor league. But that's neither here nor there. I just think that it's a huge paradigm shift, and it's very interesting to see guys get, called for their jobs. They don't even get an opportunity to have several recruiting classes or to coach up the guys they bring in. It's like, it's sort of like the pros now.
I look at guys, and like I said, Chip Kelly. If you look at Oregon, a lot of their players came from Texas. Darren Thomas, DeAnthony Thomas came from California. LaMichael James came from Texas. You're not recruiting these players to come to Oregon based off of simply jerseys. A spread offense that is built for you to win. You take speed, you take simplicity, you take uniforms, you take the ability for Nike to basically, you're Nike's super team, college team. You might as well be called the Oregon Nikes at some point. I mean, you have an offense that no one can stop. It's to a point where the only team that can stop you, Andrew Luck-led Stanford team, and they barely beat you. The up-tempo. Oregon has really changed. They changed Chip Kelly changed the game, and then he decided not going broke and just making this small profit. I want to go for the big time, and he decided to make that jump. Good job paying that guy. Tell him to come to Miami.
Blame B. Austin. Hashtag blame B. Austin. I think it's B. Austin's fault, and I'll explain to you why later on. He knows why. But the thing about it is, Fred, I think a lot of these guys, it's all about being competitive too, because I know people always ask Coach K this, which is why Coach K has come close to leaving what he has and going to the pros several times, because it's a part of him that is competitive and wants to know if they can do this at the highest level. So the
Brad
thing is, some of them
big time. Brad Stevens.
Yeah, I mean, some coaches have to at least try it. It's like, I may fail, but I have to at least try it. You know what I mean? So
the success rate of college coaches is very small. One of the few, Jimmy Johnson, he went on to win national titles at Miami and winning Super Bowl titles with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
but it didn't work out.
Larry Brown won at the NCAA and also won in the pros. I mean, he also got 3 schools. He also got 3 schools put on probation, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway,
no, don't you talk about Larry, man.
That's B. Austin's man. He's a Larry Brown fan. Anyway, Fred, man, thanks for your insight as always. Look forward to talking to you. We got to do a field vision this week. But Fred, thanks, man. Thanks for everything. How can the people get you? It's youabout.com or what?
Yeah, you guys can check me out on Twitter at Purdue Sports. I'm always talking SEC. I'll be covering a couple games. We got a couple good games, so check that out. I just dropped down my previews for the week. You might like that. A couple thousand words, so dive into it. As well as you can check me out on about.com sports, collegefootball.about.com.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, Fred. We'll talk to you soon, good brother.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Take it easy.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. Great conversation, though, because I think college sports is interesting and see where it's going in the future. So great conversation. Salute to Fred. A couple things real quick, B. Austin. The Cubs. Do you think the Cubs will make the Back to the Future 2 prediction come true? Because here's what's funny. In Back to the Future 2, for those who don't know, they traveled in the future to 2015, and in 2015, the Cubs had won the World Series. And the writer of the actual movie said that he was trying to think of the most improbable thing, and the Cubs haven't won a World Series in forever, and the Cubs have always stunk, so he thought it would be funny. And now in 2015, they're in the playoffs. What do you think, B. Austin?
I am rooting for it because Back to the Future is pop culture iconic. So
yeah, I think Back to the Future is underrated. It's one of some of the funniest and best of the 80s. And maybe I'm biased because of when it came out and when I saw it, but definitely. I'm also rooting for the Cubs.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for the Cubs. Again, the Phillies stink, so at this point I want to see the Cubs win. Some of the playoff series we have are the Rangers and Blue Jays. I somehow want them both to lose that series. We got the Astros and Royals. I'm rooting for the Astros just because the Royals are from Kansas City, and I don't want Casey Mack talking trash because I slammed his team before the season started, and they're back in the mix. So I'm just hating. Casey Mack, I'm just hating on your squad, basically.
Casey Mack, we love and support you, and you love and support us. Pause. But, I can't support or get behind a man that roots for 2 teams in the same sport. So it's like I root against whatever you root for because you're a man and you come to the table with 2 teams. What part of the game is that?
And the funny thing is,
you can't move Krill and Dope on the same block. All right, never mind. Go ahead. Yeah.
I said he's from Kansas City, but he moved there. And the thing is, they're playing the Astros, which means that he may be okay either way because he probably roots for them too. You know what I'm saying? So
I root for him. He root for everybody.
So you can't lose, Casey Mack. Anyway, we got the Cubs and Cardinals. The Cardinals, the mighty Cardinals. But I'm rooting for the Cubs, FOH, and the Mets and Dodgers, man. Magic owns the Dodgers, so I'm rooting for the Dodgers. Anyway,
Magic owns the Dodgers, so I'm rooting for the Mets.
Of course you are, because you hate. Anyway, man.
I can't support a guy that fathered EJ.
No comment. That part didn't happen. Listen, stat of the week. After 4 weeks, right? Last year's NFL leading rusher DeMarco Murray has 47 yards on 29 carries. That's approximately 1.6 yards per carry for your Philadelphia Eagles. And for those who are listening, here's the reason why I'm blaming B. Austin for the Eagles, right? I've been tracking this, right? I'm tracking the data. I'm doing analytics. And about 97.6% of the time, when B. Austin picks the Eagles to lose, they win. When he gets on board and picks them to win, they lose. And for those who may have never seen the field vision, he picked the Eagles to have a good season and go to the NFC Championship. And as soon as he did that, everything went downhill.
Yeah, so, I drank some of the Kool-Aid. And you're probably right. You're probably right. Watching DeMarco Murray be this bad, of him or his running style. Like, I always thought he was overrated. You did. I was there. 80% of the credit for Cowboys' running success to the line, probably 85 or 90. But I didn't think he was just garbage. Like, why is he this bad? He's this bad, though. Like, he's this bad. Dude, have you seen him play? Man,
I've watched every Eagles game. I've watched every snap this season.
Come on,
and it's not just his fault. There's a lot going on. But
he makes me believe that Ryan Matthews is nice.
And
I know Ryan Matthews.
The best player in the team is the midget boy.
Oh
anyway,
yeah, the power dwarf, clearly.
Before we get into some more NFL rap, I have to get your opinion on the story that happened this past week. Stephen A. Smith's rant at Kevin Durant. Like, I need to know what your opinion is. A question was asked on our Facebook page. Is Stephen A. Smith a journalist or an entertainer? I just quickly want to say, in my opinion, that line has been blurred across the board a long time ago. There aren't too many real-life journalists left. ESPN, part of what ESPN is entertainment and sports network. It is entertainment. So you have guys like a Chris Berman, who was probably an entertainer. Like the whole concept of a stone cold journalist, I think, is almost gone. There's some left, but it's almost gone. So it's all about entertainment at this point. The reason people watch First Take isn't for journalism. People don't watch His and Hers. Shout out to our colleagues. They don't watch that it's about being entertained.
Entertained and sensational.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, man, my opinion on the rant, I thought it was hilarious. It reminded me of an old WCW read, where they come out and promote their match. My man looked at the camera, was like, "Look at this camera. You don't want to play with me." Like, I thought that was completely hilarious. Some people say, well, he was out of control. He shouldn't have did it. And I mean, I see both sides. I do see, if someone calls you a liar, a flat out liar, you want to defend yourself. No one likes to be called a liar. I mean, also, it's funny because people always say he should have just, held it in the. Well, I think that Kevin Durant probably shouldn't have said some of the things he said. So both guys were wrong. Shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins, who said it was he said it was a plantation fight.
Yeah, I was going in the direction of Dr. Boyce Watkins and just going to piggyback off of some of the points that he made. And again, that's the problem with going second in the war room, because whoever drops bars first, they usually hit on a lot of the major points. And Jimmy, you did an excellent job of touching that with this particular situation. I have to be very, very careful of the criticism that I level against Stephen A. Smith for being a personality with a journalistic background, because that criticism could be leveled at us, because we have an entertainment component that's very important to us. We also have an informative component that's very important to us. We have an educational component that's very important to us. We have a humorous component that's very important. So in this instance, and follow me here because I'm going somewhere with this, it's about balancing those out and not sacrificing one for the other. And I believe that at times, First Take, Stephen A. and definitely Skip, they sacrifice information and journalistic integrity for humor and entertainment value. I'm one of the few people that will sit here and honestly admit, yeah, from time to time I do tune into First Take. And I do enjoy seeing them yell and go back and forth. It's funny. But as Jimmy said, I don't tune in there for my news. I tune in to be entertained. And I think that the specific incident in question, they could have, the gentleman, Kevin Durant, and I know Kevin personally. I don't know Stephen A. Smith. I've seen Kevin Durant grow up from his time in high school. Very, very good young man. Genuinely a good person. I think he could have handled it differently. I think it was two men bickering in public, in a public forum. And if you are cut from the cloth that I'm cut from, then ask yourself how you feel when you see two men bickering. Think about the word that I'm using, bickering. Two grown men bickering. Nah, we don't do that. We pull one or the other. We pull us to the side. We go out back. we say, look, nothing above the neckline, nothing below the waist. Ribs is wide open. We go to the hands. We wrestle, argue, and then we come to an agreement and an understanding, because now what happened is this is escalated and you both look like fools. It's my belief that Stephen A. looks like the bigger fool. Why? Because he's older. He is looked at still as a journalist. He's expected to be wiser. Kevin Durant has a reputation as being pretty non-assuming and not much of a troublemaker. And Kevin Durant has more money behind him than Stephen does.
Well, I don't know about that either, because Stephen A. got 4 letters behind him. He got Disney behind him.
He has the 4 letters, but he's not selling any. He's not selling. He is, but it's a different type of sale. I don't think that.
No, he's making the network tons of money. His contract is diesel.
You're right.
He's making the network tons of money. The reason why they keep renewing and bringing them on first is because, well, first off, I have my own theory. I don't even want to get into that. Like, I'll probably write a blog or something, because when you look at someone like a Stephen A. Smith, he's allowed to come at a Kevin Durant or, disrespect any sort of African American figure. They allow him to do that. But once he says something about that white woman, he had to apologize real fast. That's a whole nother point. My point is, he's a tool. Point. I believe that he's the tool for the 4 letters. So he has a lot of bread behind him too. My point was, it's sort of like Kevin Durant has a lot of fans because of what he can do on the court, and because of that, they act like what he did wasn't asshole either. They have to be held accountable. If you're saying that, he's a fool for saying what he said, and Durant has to kind of be a fool too, because both guys know each other. Like, that could have been squashed by either one of them having to put each other on Front Street. But Kevin Durant, not to sound like a young boy, started it. Not saying that the response was warranted. I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. So, for me, I had to get these memes off. It was cool. But, you're right. You have 2 guys a little bit, and this could have been handled. It could have handled different. But at the end of the day, man, both guys have to be held accountable for what they did and what they said to each other. We definitely have some football that we want to talk about. But Casey Mack wants to come on and defend himself. He heard us talking about this baseball season. Casey Mack, I can't lie to you, good brother. I'm going to be 100% transparent and honest. Me and you did a video. We did a baseball video to start the season. I'll post it again because we were predicting things, and I disrespected your Kansas City Royals. So now I'm rooting for them to lose, Casey Mack. But the question to you, Casey Mack, is this: if they lose to Houston, are you then rooting for Houston?
Of course he is. If Houston wins, my team's out. I told you I'm born and raised Kansas City. Only reason why I root for the Rangers is because I have to sit here and watch them. The only thing to watch is the Rangers. But I root for the home team. Kansas City goes against Texas, I root for Kansas City. Point blank.
Yeah.
If the Rangers happen to get to the World Series, I'll probably be in attendance. If the Rangers shirt, I'll probably go to the game. I mean, I live here, That's how it is. But I root for one team.
You know what, though? See, you have a different approach, though. You have a different approach. I'm explaining to you why. Because here's the thing about it is, right, a lot of times when you root for a team, isn't in the city that you're in. People move all across the country. We live in a world people move all the time. Sometimes it's more fun to root against the home team, especially if you're from that place. I know my brother Dad talks about being an Eagles fan, and B. Austin as well, living in the DMV. It's kind of fun being an Eagles fan from Philly, and you move to that state. You take a different approach where you're going to, be a fan of the team that you move to.
Yeah, I'm moving here.
Doc Bay from the War Room, he took a whole different approach. He was a Cowboys fan in Philly. He decided to move to Dallas just to be with the Cowboys fans. But anyway,
put it like this: when I came down here, Texas sucks. I mean, are you gonna boo a team that already sucks? I just went ahead and followed the team. Bro, so that's how it went.
We believe in keeping teams winning down. But anyway, Casey Mack, I gotta be honest with you though, man. I'm rooting against your team. I had to put it out there. At least I'm being honest. I'm not fronting. I'm rooting for the team to lose because I disrespected them. So they can't win now, because if they win now, you're gonna look right.
I'm gonna tell you what. If Texas beat Toronto,
that's Kansas City's biggest nightmare, Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
You know, even though Houston's scary because they're young, shoot, they have no answer for Toronto in that offense. So, you know.
Well, let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Cubs' chances? We know that it's a slim chance, but
hey,
the Cubs are like the underdog favorite. What do you think about the Cubs? What are underdogs rather than everyone is rooting for?
I went to Vegas back in March before the March Madness, and I saw the Cubs 5-1 odds to win the World Series. I started laughing. I was like, Cubs ain't gonna get to. Hey, Cubs real deal. Cubs can beat St. Louis. Cubs probably the best team in the National League right now. And if I'm Baltimore Orioles, I'm like, what the hell did we think to get rid of Jake like that? Man, that man's incredible. So, you know, the Cubs real deal. I would be scared if I was St. Louis right now.
Okay. So right now, before we get you out of here, what is your prediction? What is your prediction for the World Series?
Well, I'm going to Kansas City, playing the Cubs. And unfortunately, I think you're right about that prediction. Cubs. This is Cubs year. It is Cubs year.
Ooh. All right. Well, do me a favor. Check in with us every week.
Let me say something about Stephen A. right quick.
About who? Okay, go ahead. Get your
Stephen A. Smith. The thing about Stephen A. Smith that pissed me off is, one, he's credible. Everything he has said for the rumors and all have been on point. So Kevin Durant, I don't know what his biggest problem was. You know, that could have kept out of the media. Talk to him like a man behind closed doors. It pissed me off more than anything about Stephen A. Even though I don't think he did anything wrong, you're talking to a kid, 26-year-old kid, and you're talking to a black man like that. And I get sick and tired, and I watch First Take all the time. And he's trying to he is on him, man. He is Uncle Ruckus, man.
Talk to him.
Uncle Ruckus. I mean, I just sit there. I don't understand it, man. I'm just like, they love it. You're not allowed to talk about white women no more like that, but we will let you talk to a brother or nigga, whatever,
well,
any way you want.
You're saying what I just said. You're saying what I just said.
Yeah.
That he has a platform to, you know, but that,
well, he talks down to us, man. He talks down to us.
And the thing about it is there are actual YouTube videos where people have, like, you know, pointed that out and took clips and put them together of, like, you know, him apologizing to other groups and, you know, some of the stuff he's allowed to say without apology. So it's kind of, you know, it's a thing where people know that that's what it is, which is why I told B. Austin, I think that he's a tool for them.
You know what's funny? I'm going to Casey Mack, since you brought that point up, which I think is a very valid point. Jimmy, you brought it up as well, and I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with both of you. But here's an alternative perspective.
He's limit of sport. He's Don Lemon of sport.
The alternative perspective, because I don't think he's Don Lemon, and I don't think he's Uncle Ruckus. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Stephen A. is a person that looks at the group of people that he comes from and feels as though it's his job or moral responsibility to hold those people accountable. Hold us. So he's looking at
just like Charles
the accountability piece, and I respect that. But as an intelligent man in journalism or in the media, we won't say journalism, in the media at the level he's at, he has to be sensitive to the nuances of what's going on around him. Why is it that you're allowed to chastise black people, but whenever it's another group of people, you get your wrist smacked, you get your chin popped, you get your belt.
My man used the N-word on TV and didn't have to apologize.
Yeah. Hey, make it personal. He makes it personal.
Yeah, so that's
Casey Mack, we only got 10 minutes left. We got another call line. We got to go, Casey Mack. Yo, check in with us next week as the baseball playoffs progress, so we can talk more baseball with you, good brother.
Go in the game.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too, please.
No doubt, KC.
Let's get John Sanders from the DMV on the line, the fan of the Washington football team. John, what's going on, man?
I know you professional football team fan.
I know you want to say something about what we're talking about with Stephen A. I know you have an opinion on that.
Okay, yeah, I definitely will have an opinion on this. Actually, I agree with, I think, one of you guys said said about him holding other people to another standard. I do agree with that. And I think a lot of it has to do with because of who he works for, ESPN. That's a big conglomerate. They're going to they have no problem with him attacking or saying whether it's truthful or not truthful statements about African American folks. But then they have an issue with him talking about anything else, or they don't have an issue with it. It's like it's swept under the water. So I think he is held to a certain standard. Maybe he's doing it because he has to, or he's directed to, or maybe he's not thinking about it, or maybe he feels more related. But I do feel like he does have a little bit more criticism towards it. But then again, it could be just because that sports, more minorities are in sports that are actually on the news or newsworthy, as try to say, than any other culture in this country. So that could be it too. I don't know, but I mean, he has criticized Chip Kelly very well.
Something has to be
Brady.
said. Something has to be said for the fact that this gentleman can criticize African American people, but when it's another group, and it's not just it's not white people.
And the thing is, though,
other protected classes. It could be Jews. It could be women. It could be gays. It could be whenever that happens. There's hell to pay for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that's a bigger issue as well, because they have the ability to come together and take a stand and make sure that he has to apologize too. So many of us hate each other that we're not willing to do that. But I don't want to make this a poop on Stephen A. thing, because the thing about it is I respect Stephen A. I remember he wrote for the local paper here in Philadelphia. He was one of the only brothers then, and he was very entertaining at times. Like, he's entertaining at times. His shtick sometimes gets boring, but he's very talented. He's actually, a legend in the game. He's one of the only one of us on TV. But sometimes, sometimes you got to check your elders, man. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm doing something wrong, I want one of my people to check me, because, we're all human. We make mistakes and do things. But it's sort of like when people, have an affinity or like someone, even with Kevin Durant, it's like they feel like they can do no wrong. We all make mistakes, man. We all do wrong things, man. We should be able to be checked. Because I think that Durant was he shouldn't have started the whole thing. And what he said was unnecessary, too. This would have never happened, but I'm glad it happened, because I got to see Stephen A. go full Ric Flair. You don't want to mess with me. Like, I saw him go full, WWE on me, so I thought it was entertaining,
I came on also real quick, and I know you guys only got a few minutes. Of course, I know you guys are going to bury me about the RG3. So I'll give you that. But now you're starting to hear these issues with Russell Wilson. You're starting to hear these issues with Kaepernick. But the difference is and tell me if I'm wrong, Luck, when he is playing, and Tannehill, same quarterbacks from that class pretty much. And Kaepernick, we'll just throw him in there, even though he was a year ahead. But same quarterbacks from those classes. They all seem to be struggling. But
they are struggling. But Kaepernick throws curveballs, though, B. Like, Kaepernick throws curveballs.
But here's the thing, though. I'm talking to guys at my job, and they're basically saying the same thing. Well, Kaepernick and Wilson can't read defenses. So is Luck and Tannehill incapable of
Tannehill is trash. But Andrew Luck, in all fairness to Andrew Luck, he has the equivalent of the three gentlemen on this line right now blocking for him, which doesn't really work when you bring in new receivers.
But hold on, though. There's another point to this. There's another point to this, which is the one thing in common about an RG3, a Russell Wilson, and a Kaepernick, and I'm not even talking about the race thing, is when these guys were rookies, they were running a similar offense. And we said at the time on this show that the thing about the NFL is this: people aren't stupid. People make adjustments. They watch film. So when people caught up to that offense, which was new at the time, it doesn't work anymore. So now guys have to go into a more of a pro style offense. And the thing about it is, Luck started in a pro style offense. Andrew Luck is struggling this year through a couple games, but Andrew Luck was a contender for the most valuable player last year, and he's injured now. He hasn't even, he's not going to play tonight either, is what I just heard. So I wouldn't throw him in that mix, but I do see that, those guys are running a similar offense, and I think that has a lot to do with it. So now you're forced to change your entire game, and they're struggling. They are struggling. And not to mention, those guys were on teams that were supposed to compete. Well, according, the Washington football team, they think they're going to compete every year. But, Russell Wilson is on a team that just went to back-to-back Super Bowls, and he's struggling right now. And he looks like he's one of the weak links.
And they just
but it goes back. I think I said this to you guys.
And John, they just gave Russell Wilson that bag, and inside that bag was a ring and a lot of money for a ring for Sierra and a lot of money for Sierra. So they have expectations. That bunk offense that these QBs run, because offensive coordinators have to simplify it, because these guys didn't run pro in college. They ran spread or they ran pistol, and they come to the league, they dumb it down. But after a while, they can't keep it dumbed down because, as Jimmy just pointed out, defenses catch up. And I'm going to tell you, John, let me share something. You can share this with your buddies at the bar. You can say this. Look them in the eye when they see a running quarterback. Say, do you know that it is very disrespectful to an NFL defense if you put your quarterback in a position to run option? Like, they won't destroy his life when he gets to the edge? Like, that's like that whole the notion that you can run pistol and run option in the NFL, like, that's done now. Defense is like, yo, we going to F you up. We going to drop you on your head. So you got to learn to throw the ball, read, work through progressions.
And one thing I want to say, one thing I also have to say, John, is that, word to Pip, but these guys you named all had great expectations. The Seahawks actually, if you think about it, they went to like the last two bowls. So, he has a ring. But when you look at RG3, right, RG3 came in the league, and he was one of the faces of the entire league. Like, he was everywhere between Subway, all the different endorsements. He was one of the faces of the league. Yo, I guarantee you that everybody listening now, we have several thousand people listening to our show right now. They couldn't tell you what Ryan Tannehill looks like. You know what I'm saying? So the expectations, right or wrong, were different. And the Niners were a team that were competing to get to that level. They went to the bowl once. They were a team that was in competition, one of the elite time that he took over. So,
but I'm hearing you out. Now, what I'm trying to say is these guys are not allowing these guys to be developed properly. It goes back to what I said 2 years ago.
Well, we had a long
you don't
conversation.
Let these guys develop.
I agree with that. The game has changed to the point where they want guys to come to the quarterback and be elite right away. So I agree with that. But at the same time, when guys are struggling, they're struggling. Let's not make excuses for them either. It's sort of like Cam Newton. Me and B also had a long conversation earlier. I think that, when Cam stunk, and he has stunk in his 4 years, I've brought it up. I think Cam is playing excellent right now, so I'm going to bring that up as well. But you have to give guys time to develop. But the difference between, like, Cam and those guys is Cam wasn't playing for the Niners who went to the bowl. Cam wasn't, as highly touted as RG3 was. RG3's face was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So the expectations were a little bit different. And, so you have to understand that no one expected the Dolphins to even win their division.
But also look at Carolina, but you're also comparing Carolina franchise to DC. Who has the most storied franchise? The Redskins. So more money.
No, I understand plus,
remember,
that.
we live in the DC area, so of course they're excited.
But with that comes a certain level of expectations. Like B. Austin said, they dropped that bag for Russell Wilson. They want to see results. But anyway, John, we got to get out of here, man. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you online.
No problem, guys. Y'all take care.
All right, take it easy.
All right, hey, hell to the Redskins.
No, we don't say that name on air, man. It's the Washington professional football team. Anyway, B. Austin, man, we're going to talk about some football on Field Vision because we got a lot of football stuff to get to that we didn't. But, man, listen, man, I definitely have to shout out everybody who called in. This was a great show. We had a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us, good people. Shout out to everybody, chat room, Facebook, Twitter. Even those sending me text messages during the show, and y'all know I'm on the show. Shout out to y'all anyway. Special thanks to Fred Perdue. Shout out to everybody on the WRS Podcast Network. Tune into the WRS Podcast Network at warroomsports.com. Remember, next week, we're going to recap Week 5, talk about Week 6. So until then, enjoy your week. We'll see you back here next time. Catch up on our conversations, Facebook, Twitter, at War Room Sports. Everything, blogs, webcasts, podcasts, everything at warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we shall see you chumps on top.
Salute!
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Doc Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. It's knocked out. 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, PJ, Doc Bay, B. Austin. I'm Jock. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.